What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we're going over the best and the worst from the Buccaneers' thrilling, crazy, exciting shootout win against the Seattle Seahawks up there in Seattle. Bucs win on a last-second Chase McLaughlin field goal, 38-35, and improved to 4-1 in a game that had a lot of ebbs and flows for sure, and it felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win, and that was the case. But the Bucs defense did make a play. Joining me though is my CFP co-host, Mr. Rhett Matthew. Rhett, how are you feeling about the Buccaneers' 4-1 start and just that game overall?
I am fantastic. I truly am. That is a way
Back
to
to
bounce
Victory
back.
Monday. We
It
are
is back
back
to
to
it
Victory
is
Monday.
back to Victory Monday. Thank you for reminding me, my friend. But the cardiac Bucks do it again. Not necessarily the fashion that we would have drawn it up, but a win is a win in the NFL, and 4-1 is a damn good way to stack up wins in a competitive NFC as the season goes on. They have some character building games here over the next few weeks as we kind of count down to the bye week. But a 4-1 start over their first five, with the best receiver in the NFL in Emeka Egbuka is everything we could have hoped for.
Yeah, no, we'll be talking about Emeka Egbuka here shortly, but we do want to start on the offensive side of the ball. We want to talk about the guy who was throwing to Emeka Egbuka. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield. Look, obviously, he's appeared on this list on the best side more than once, right? And he was spectacular again on Sunday. Mayfield was 29 of 33 for 379 yards, two touchdowns, no interceptions. Get this. He is the first QB ever to have 375 plus passing yards and fewer than five incompletions in a regular season game. So he was on one on Sunday, and he was just dialed in from the start, and there was nothing that the Seattle defense could do to stop him, really.
Baker Mayfield was a man on a mission, just like you said. I don't know what bulletin board material he grabbed for this week, but he needs to look into doing that every single week. This was one of the best aerial performances we have seen from Baker since probably that 2023 game against the Packers. As far as efficiency, finding targets downfield, and looking comfortable in the pocket, this is the best he's held up all year, and I love to see this from Baker Mayfield. This is just a quarterback that this fan base can continue to trust, and honestly, I don't think it's too early to start the Baker Mayfield MVP hype train. Not at this point.
No, I definitely don't. He is certainly somebody who you're gonna have to talk about, right? Like you're gonna have to discuss in that conversation for sure. So we'll see. A lot of football left to be played, but so far, Baker's been pretty unbelievable, for the Bucks and continues to will ways to win, find ways to win, I should say, and will his team to win. Even when sometimes they're lacking juice or they're in a tight spot, it's third and long, and he makes a play with his legs or makes a play with his arm. He's doing it all for the Buccaneers right now. But let's talk about Emeka Egbuka. His best game as a pro, right? Like was all over the place. 7 catches, 163 yards, one touchdown, 57-yarder deep ball. Was all over the place, right? He was really, really good for the Bucks. And look, they were still down Mike Evans, so he was exactly what the doctor ordered for the Bucks offense on Sunday.
This guy is a cheat code, a true superstar in the making, because we talk about him being the class of this 2025 rookie draft class across the NFL, leading the odds right now in offensive rookie of the year in the NFL. He's done a lot in his short campaign, but he doesn't even just look like the best rookie. He looks like the best wide receiver in the NFL. We were concerned about his matchups this week. Again, another week without Mike Evans. Assignments are going to change. Chris Godwin was back in the offense, which I do think helped out quite a bit for the Bucs on Sunday. But for Egbuka, he is just consistent, and he is consistently deadly. That connection with Baker Mayfield is lethal, and he is just setting records left and right. I don't think that there has been a more impactful offensive rookie for the Buccaneers. I mean, even Bucky Irving took a little bit to really get rolling during his rookie season. Egbuka has just been on a tear, and you got to love to see it. That pick at 19 is aging better by the day.
think you're gonna find, or be hard pressed, I should say, to find anyone with a real issue now with that selection.
Right.
I get it, right? I get it at the time being frustrated, right? Like I do understand the confusion or frustration there and stuff at the time, but I don't think the Buccaneers are regretting that pick. I don't think any Bucs fans right now are regretting that pick. They might not win, right? They might not be 4-1 without Emeka Egbuka right now. So yeah, he's been incredible, and hopefully he can continue that. We're also going to talk about the Buccaneers' offensive line. And look, this is still a makeshift group, right? But I think what you're starting to see, and it's makeshift because, yes, Tristan Wirfs came back, but you're still missing Luke Gedeke for hopefully he's closer to a return now within the next couple of weeks. Cody Malk obviously going to miss the year, but uh, you get Tristan Wirfs back. You're able to move him to left tackle, move Barton back to center, Bredesen back to left guard. But I think you're also starting to see guys on the right side, Charlie Heck, Luke Haggard. I think you're starting to see the result of an offensive line continuing to play with each other and building that continuity and building that chemistry. That's so important, I think, for an offensive line, like more so than like I honestly think it's a very underrated thing. Like everybody talks about, oh, chemistry between quarterback and wide receiver, but a chemistry along an offensive line of like where your guy's gonna be that's next to you, and what his weaknesses are, what he likes to do, where he likes to pull, where he likes to go here, like that matters. And I think you're seeing a team now that is sort of getting used to playing with each other. And the Bucs offensive line was really good on Sunday.
Yeah, guys are finally able to settle in. You talked about that familiarity on the left side with Tristan Wirfs, his second game now under his belt, returning from injury, playing his natural position. Graham Barton, second game back at center. Ben Bredesen, second game back at guard. I think that the importance of them feeling comfortable is visible in the passing efficiency we saw from Baker Mayfield, right? How well that pocket was able to hold up and continue to give Baker some clean looks. Yeah, there were a couple of plays he had to make with his legs, whether the pressure was coming in or things were just falling out of structure, whatever it may be. Seems like they held up for the most part. And then I think as a whole, when you look from beginning to end, this was their most complete performance so far this season. Having those guys back in their natural position, it is huge for this unit as a whole.
Definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is, and hopefully it can continue to get better. And hopefully, once Luke gets back, it's even better. So we will have to wait and see. But let's move on to the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to talk about somebody who, unfortunately, we haven't talked about a ton this year on the best list, right? And we've been kind of hesitant to throw him on the worst list for obvious reasons, but we cover the team, and what you see is what you see, and the results are the results. But Levante David, now, he did have a missed tackle that led to a touchdown. Not a great moment. But outside of that, he actually didn't have that bad of a game, and he caps it off with a clutch interception of Sam Darnold, which basically sealed the game, right? The Bucs were pretty much already in field goal range with about, a minute left maybe. Pretty much sealed the game for the Buccaneers right then and there. A big day for Levante David, and it's nice to see, him bounce back with a pretty nice performance after the first 4 weeks, like, hasn't been that kind to him.
Yeah, and we've talked endlessly on the podcast about the importance of having a guy on the defense who can put teams away in that fourth quarter. It doesn't take much. This Bucs defense gave up 5 straight scoring drives, but that interception from Levante David is the biggest difference maker in that second half compared to anything else they did or didn't do on defense. Having a guy who can do that is huge, and having that guy be Levante David after, like you said, some of the scrutiny he has faced so far this season, he's a Bucs legend, one of the most prolific players to do it at the linebacker position, right behind Derek Brooks in the grand scheme of the Bucs organization. I like that he is getting his flowers this week. An all-time moment for Levante David. You do love to see it.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's that. That's one of those where, like, even in what could be his final season, like you could still be talking about that play. Like, hey, remember when he really made that big play against Seattle, right? There was somebody else involved in that big play, though. There was somebody else, and really made like Devontae David finished the play, but this guy basically made the play, and that is Antoine Winfield Jr. And that's the next guy we're going to be talking about here on the best list. Look, Winfield did get beat deep, by JSN earlier in the game. Pretty good catch. Not terrible coverage, but it happens. But he made a couple of nice plays, had an interception, right, off a deflection that was taken back, unfortunately, by a penalty. But when it matters, the Bucs send him on a blitz, and he gets there, and he doesn't get the sack, but he affects Sam Darnold enough to kind of rush the throw. The ball goes off of Logan Hall's helmet and then deflects basically right to Levante David, which, again, ended up sealing the game pretty much. So, Antonio Jr., a healthy Antonio Jr., continuing to make big plays for the Bucs defense.
Yeah, a nice return to form for the former All-Pro. This is a guy that the Buccaneers made at one time the highest paid safety in the history of the NFL, and he is showing exactly why early on in this 2025 campaign the Buccaneers paid him that much money. I love to see a healthy number 31 running around out there. We talk about the leaders on the defensive side of the ball for Tampa Bay. You look no further than number 54, Levante David. Number 50, Vita Vea can absolutely be up there. And then number 31, when he is healthy, is one of the most impactful players on this Buccaneers defense. You love to see it for another week in a row here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one last guy we'll mention is special teams player Chase McLaughlin, right? 3 for 3 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points, including the game-winning field goal there to seal the deal. The second time when the Bucs are wearing their reverse throwback jerseys that the game has ended on a Chase McLaughlin field goal. So, look, I mean, had some struggles to start the season, right? Like there was some struggles in those first two games, but I think it's pretty safe to say that after the week he had against the Eagles, right, where he nails the 65-yarder and then he nails the 58-yarder, and then he has this performance as well. I think it's safe to say that the struggles are behind him,
Yeah.
and Money Mac is back. So it truly is a return of the Mac.
Yeah, Money Mac truly back in our good graces, and I think with the special teams unit all around, just having the season they've had so far, you got to take these wins any way you can get them. So for Chase McLaughlin, a return to form is kind of the theme of some of these guys here today, and for Money Mac, it's exactly what you like to see from them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, starting to become to the point where you don't really stress about the kicks, as much. Think some Bucks fans, right, started to creep in a little bit early in the year, but hopefully that's definitely died down. But unfortunately, as we always say, there are positives in a loss and negatives in a win, and we do have some worse. And I will say, shout out to the offense because I do not have a single player on my worst list on the offensive side of the ball. But we are going to talk on the defense, and we're going to go first to Jacob Parrish, the rookie corner, who look has played well for the Bucs, right? Graded out as one of like the better nickel corners. Like I think it's like the third or fourth best nickel corner in the entire NFL, not just rookies in the entire NFL. Had to play a different role today, though, right? Had to play a little bit on the outside that he's been used to because they were without Jamel Dean, because they were without Benjamin Morrison. And I think you could kind of tell that. There was a few tough plays there. He gave up. He had a penalty as well. So Jacob Parrish, I have full confidence he's able to bounce back, but definitely a game, the worst game of his early career for sure.
Yeah, and very much like you said, playing out of his natural position today, being asked to do a little bit more covering outside with the absence of Benjamin Morrison and Jamel Dean here in this Buccaneers defense. I think for Jacob Parrish, the fact that we're 5 weeks into the season and this is the first performance he's had where he looks like a rookie, just another promising sign for this Buccaneers draft class. You hate to see Benjamin Morrison miss this game with injury, but you go down the list here of this 2025 draft class, and there is contributor, contributor, contributor next to all of these guys' names, and a great start to the season for rookie Parrish. For the rookie Parrish, I have no doubt in my mind that he is going to bounce back and look like the guy that we've seen here in the first 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And lastly, we're gonna say, well, actually, lastly for the defense, we are gonna say the Bucks four-man pass rush. Now, Seattle was playing a lot of like max protect. They were doing a lot of things to try and keep the pocket clean for Sam Darnold, getting the ball out of his hands quickly as well. So that is always tough, right? When you're facing that. But the Bucks had an opportunity, right? 4th and 2, late in the game. Diaby beats his man clean, tries to get the sack, does not. Hassan Reddick is also there, does not get the sack. Sam Darnold ends up evading both them and throws a touchdown pass to give Seattle the lead. The Bucks four-man pass rush, it's been okay this year so far, right? It hasn't been a complete liability like I think it was last year, but they're definitely going to need to be better in future games.
Yeah, and I think that, again, you can look at the sack totals across the NFL. You can look at pressure rates, and they are one of the better units as of right now. They are slightly above average in my opinion, but I still feel like far too many times this season we have been watching another team drive down the field in the third or the fourth quarter to make it an interesting game. Man, we'd need a sack right here. Man, I'd kill
Mhm.
for a sack right here because it is the ultimate drive killer aside from a takeaway. And yes, the Buccaneers did come away with a Levante David interception to take that game over against Seattle in the final minute. But, I truly do think that the way that this defense is right now, they are vastly improved from the unit we saw in 2024. I said this on the post game show. I'm going to say it here as well. I think that this defensive unit is an edge rusher away from being elite. They are above average right now. They are very good. One of the best run defenses in the NFL. An edge rusher puts them over the edge. I guess pun intended. But with that being said, still continuing to monitor this four-man pass rush moving forward. You can't always bring the extra pressure with defensive backs on the blitz and expect it to work. Some teams just pick it up better than others, and the Seahawks did a good job at protecting Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And lastly, we were gonna mention the Buccaneers kick return coverage. Man, the Buccaneers obviously were scoring a lot of touchdowns, right? So there's gonna be a lot of kickoffs. It felt like every single time. Like, we criticized the defense, that the defense didn't have a good day, but it just seemed like every single time the Seattle offense started from the 50. And it was because of, there's a 40-yard return and here's a 50-yard return. And there was one 40-yard return that ended up getting pushed back because of a holding penalty, or else that would have still been on the board. Needs to be better, and it's been an issue. Obviously, the Bucs did not have a blocked punt or field goal this week, but it's almost like okay, so that one's solved, that one's solved. What's gonna break next? Okay, because you can't have all three of these good at the same time. So what's it gonna be? And for the Bucs right now, they have the okay, they don't get a field goal blocked or a punt blocked. Well, their kick coverage is gonna be atrocious, or they're gonna fumble the ball on a punt return, or whatever it may be. It just seems like right now the Bucs special teams is still, despite not having anything that's resulted in points directly, like a block punt or block field goal, they're still struggling.
And a lot of people are going to give the defense guff for giving up 5 straight scoring drives to Seattle in the second half of that game. But truthfully, when you read between the lines a little bit, it's hard for any NFL defense. 3 out of those 5 scoring drives started from midfield. It's
Mm.
hard for any NFL defense to stop an offense every single time from the 50-yard line when you're being spotted such great field position. So without a doubt, it feels like with special teams, if it's not one thing, it's another. Hopefully, this doesn't become a common trend. But the fact that they were able to at least get all of their punts and their field goals off this week, it's a positive sign, but still a little bit to clean up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hopefully they do. Again, long season ahead, only 5 games in, but it's something to where it's going to burn you eventually, right? And it could end up costing you a ball game. So hopefully it doesn't come to that, but hopefully it's fixed sooner rather than later. But let us know who your best and worst is. Curious to hear, because I think you could say a couple other people that we didn't mention for either best or worst. Like, I think there was so much happening in this game that you could, say somebody completely different. Your list could be completely different than ours. So let us know in the comment section below. We're really curious about that. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and go Bucks.